how do we gather data virtually? I typically, when I write a case, I go and I meet with someone. I like to meet with local businesses, with businesses where I can go and talk to someone. It doesn't always work out that way. I can't do that right now. So my norms, my expectations of how I gather data is going to be different. But let's take a step back even before that, how you contact the companies. I mean, if you've written cases before, you have your own way of having contacted companies. Perhaps you met them through a course project or through a personal network or a professional network. That's going to be much more difficult right now, and you may have to engage in cold calling where you haven't before. You have to craft a letter, an approach, and you have to be very careful with it, because with a cold call, it's your one attempt. It's your one try to get someone interested in what you're doing. So it's important to really think about what you put in that letter. How do you explain what a case is? How do you explain what you need from them on what time frame? How do you explain what you intend to do with this? All in one approach letter. What you want to make sure you're doing is you're bringing something relevant to the company. That doesn't mean you have to promise them something. That doesn't mean you have to consult for them or give them the solution to their problem. It's just making clear the ground rules of, this is what I need from you. This is how much time it involves. And this is what it's going to be at the end. The things that I stress in my cold call letters is time, as I've mentioned, and also I will need someone to sign off on this at the end of the process. I will need that release signed because I have had situations where I've written a fairly lengthy case and most of a teaching note before finding out they weren't going to sign. And so now all of that work is not particularly useful to me. So make sure we set expectations. Also, you know, Zoom or Skype or any of these new apps that I've had to download over the past several weeks are certainly a good way of interfacing. I've done several case interviews over the phone where it's a 1 to 2 hour phone call. Usually when I'm face to face with someone for a couple hours, it spurs new questions. It minimizes, I find, the need for follow-up, or we can identify the areas that I need them to follow up. We have to be more aware of that when we're not face to face, because some of those cues, some of those ideas don't come through as clearly.